Is this the real reason behind the Danish royal feud? Prince Joachim was deeply in love with his sister-in-law Crown Princess Mary and even tried to kiss her in a drunken moment at a gala, Spanish magazine claims. It's been a dramatic few days for the Danish royal family, after Queen Margaret II of Denmark announced last week that she would be removing princely titles from 4 of her grandchildren. The decision saw a bitter royal row break out, with her youngest son Prince Joachim claiming his children, Prince Nikolai, 23, Prince Felix, 20, Prince Henrik, 13, and Princess Athena, 10, were upset after having their identities removed. As of January 1, 2023, they will become counts and countesses, and will be known as their excellencies, rather than His or Her Royal Highness. Amid the scandal, Joachim, 53, and his second wife Princess Marie, 46, admitted their relationship with his older brother Crown Prince Frederick, 54, and his sister-in-law Crown Princess Mary, 50, is complicated. And now, one Spanish magazine has claimed the real reason behind the rift is because Joachim was deeply in love with his sister-in-law Mary, according to Vanity Cell Confidential. A photograph was even published by Swedish woman's weekly magazine Svensk Damtidning, allegedly showing Joachim trying to kiss Mary at a gala party of the Royal Guard Regiment. The Spanish magazine recalled, with obvious signs of drunkenness, it seems that the youngest son of Queen Margaret tried to stamp his lips on his sister-in-law's mouth, that she got out of the way as she could end with an unperturbed smile, while Marie witnessed the embarrassing moment. It also suggested that shortly after Frederick and Mary's wedding in 2004, Danish media began to speculate that Joachim was deeply in love with his sister-in-law. In fact, it didn't help that in 2007 he announced his engagement to a French girl, Princess Marie, with the same name and a striking physical resemblance, wrote the magazine. But with such strong rumors about the prince's crush on Mary, the magazine claims Margaret called them to order and started a campaign to show that there were no problems between the two women, including unscheduled outings together. Mail Online has contacted the Danish royal household for comment. On Tuesday, Queen Marguerite and her eldest son refused to answer questions regarding the fallout of last week's bombshell royal titles as they arrived at the state opening of Parliament. Marguerite, 82, was joined by Crown Prince Frederick and his wife Princess Mary at the opening of the Folketing, in Copenhagen. The assembled press asked a flurry of questions to all three royals on their arrival, but the trio chose with big smiles to turn their backs to the press and talk among themselves before they entered Christiansborg, the seat of the Danish parliament, according to local news outlet BT. The royals put on an upbeat display and smiled to each other as they took their seats ahead of the opening. Marguerite opted for a vibrant mint dress and matching hat, while Australian-born Mary looked more somber and grey. It comes hours after Queen Marguerite issued a public apology for her decision to strip 4 of her grandchildren, the sons and daughters of her youngest son, Prince Joachim, of their royal titles. She said she was sorry for hurting her family with the difficult decision but insisted it was the right choice. And according to Danish royal commentators, the public statement is completely unusual and shows how serious the conflict within the family has become. They added the Queen likely fears coming across as an ice queen, following several emotive public statements from Joachim in which he spoke of how his children had been harmed by their grandmother's decision. Speaking to Danish publication Ekstrabladet, royal house expert Lars Hovbak Sørensen said, "It is a completely unusual situation, it is historic, and it shows something about the seriousness that the Queen feels called to make such a personal announcement in a press release. It is quite unusual and she has never done this before. It shows that there is a huge conflict." Mr. Sørensen added the Queen's statement was a way of trying to close this conflict and draw a line under it, following several days of turbulence between the monarch and her youngest son. Last Thursday Prince Joachim told Ekstrabladet his children had been hurt by their grandmother's decision to remove their princely titles and make them counts and countesses, adding he had only had a few days to break the news to them before it was announced publicly. However, according to Mr. Sørensen, You cannot have members or former members of the royal house constantly speaking in the press about the Queen's decision and discussing back and forth with each other in full public view. He added Queen Marguerite had to say something following Prince Joachim's public comments. In a statement, the monarch admitted she had underestimated the impact of her actions but said it was a long time coming and it had been made as a queen, mother and grandmother. Another royal expert, Joachim Jensen, agreed the Queen felt compelled to issue a public statement about the reported animosity and told BT the Queen's statement reflected the crazy situation the Danish royal household finds itself in. He added it is likely she did not want to make a public apology about her decision, but that Prince Joachim's public comments left her with no choice but to address the accusations. Mr. Jensen said, Queen Marguerite has felt compelled to issue a statement, and it is because the royal house is of course afraid that she will appear like an ice queen, which she has become in the past week. This is of course an attempt to say that she is not. She also feels it and is upset about the situation. He added he thought the Queen's decision was the right one, although he was unsure if it would calm Prince Joachim's strong feelings about his mother's decision. The Queen's statement read, in recent days, there have been strong reactions to my decision on the future use of titles for Prince Joachim's 4 children. It obviously affects me. My decision has been a long time coming. With my 50 years on the throne, it is natural both to look back and to look forward. It is my duty and my wish as Queen to ensure that the monarchy continues to shape itself in keeping with the times. It sometimes requires difficult decisions to be made, and it will always be difficult to find the right moment. Carrying a royal title entails a number of obligations and duties, which will in future be the responsibility of fewer members of the royal family. This adaptation, which I see as a necessary safeguard for the future of the monarchy, I want to make in my time. She continued, I have made my decision as queen, mother and grandmother. But as a mother and grandmother I have underestimated how much my youngest son and his family feel affected. It makes a big impression, and I'm sorry for that. No one should be in doubt that my children, children-in-law and grandchildren are my great joy and pride. I now hope that we as a family can find the peace to find our way through this situation ourselves. She signed off the note, Marguerite R. According to Mr. Sørensen, the incredibly personal statement, which includes the Queen's admission she had underestimated how seriously her grandchildren would be affected by the change, shows how serious the conflict within the family is. The statement was released after it emerged Prince Frederick has spent the last week in Saint-Tropez taking part in a sailing competition, while his brother expressed his sadness that his children were to be stripped of their titles. Prince Frederick joined friends to defend the prestigious BMW trophy, which they also won in 2021. Her and New reported the royal arrived in the exclusive Saint-Tropez last weekend to take part in the Le Voiles Saint-Tropez race with the TP52 boat Nanook. In a photograph from the event which was taken on Friday, the royal can be seen posing on a boat topless in the sunshine. The Crown Prince appeared to recline on the boat as he chatted with friends during his 7-day visit to the country last week. The news comes after Frederick's brother Joachim and his second wife Marie admitted their relationship is complicated. Speaking to BT they also said Queen Marguerite has unfortunately not tried to speak to them, with Joachim adding, it's also family. Or whatever we want to call it. During the interview, B.T reported that a French woman approached the royal couple and told them their children will always be princes and princesses to her, apparently leaving Marie and Joachim in tears. Elsewhere, Marie, the mother of Joachim's 2 youngest children, told the Danish news outlet that her daughter Athena is being bullied at school after the decision was publicly announced earlier this week. They come and say, to Athena, is it you who is no longer a princess? She said, adding that her children were put under the public spotlight and so she feels the need to defend them. Last week, Joachim hit out at his mother Marguerite's decision, saying it punished his children, as well as claiming he had only been told the news 5 days before it was made public, despite the royal household insisting the move has been a long time coming. Meanwhile, Princess Mary came out in public support of her mother-in-law's move while speaking in an interview with Ekstrabladet in Copenhagen on Friday, saying that while change can be extremely difficult and can really hurt, this does not mean that the decision is not the right one. The oldest son of Australian-born Princess Mary, 50, and Frederick is Prince Christian, 16, who is second in line to the throne. Frederick and Mary's 4 children, Prince Christian, 16, Princess Isabella, 15, and twins Princess Josephine and Prince Vincent, 11, remain unaffected by the monarch's decision as they are direct descendants of the future king. However, Princess Mary suggested that might not always be the case, saying they will also look at their children's titles when the time comes. Speaking about the monarch's intention to slim down the Danish royal family, Joachim said, "The reality must still be, whether you modernize or slim down, it must be done in a proper way. It's about children. Orderliness in children. It is a very heavy matter." Commenting on Princess Mary's point that her children may too lose titles in the future, Joachim said, "I don't know how they feel if they have to think it through. Now is preparation time. We didn't have that." Last week, commenting on his children's reaction to the move to BT, Joachim said his children don't know which leg to stand on as their identity is removed, and questioned why must they be punished in that way. The prince said, "I can say that my children are sad. My kids don't know which leg to stand on. What they should believe. Why should their identity be removed? Why must they be punished in that way? I don't want to engage in speculation and mudslinging," said Joachim. "I am telling the truth. I was given 5 days notice. I was given 5 days notice of this. To tell my children that on New Year's their identity will be taken from them." He added that in May, he was presented with a plan that his children's identity should be taken from them when each of them turned 25, to which he asked to be allowed to come back with my proposal. But he said he was given just 5 days notice that the decision was to be accelerated, adding, "I am so sorry for my children. I just demand the truth." We didn't have that. Last week, commenting on his children's reaction to the move to BT, Joachim said his children don't know which leg to stand on as their identity is removed, and questioned why must they be punished in that way? The prince said, "I can say that my children are sad. My kids don't know which leg to stand on. What they should believe. Why should their identity be removed? Why must they be punished in that way? I don't want to engage in speculation and mudslinging," said Joachim. "I am telling the truth. I was given 5 days notice. I was given 5 days notice of this. To tell my children that on New Year's their identity will be taken from them." He added that in May, he was presented with a plan that his children's identity should be taken from them when each of them turned 25, to which he asked to be allowed to come back with my proposal. But he said he was given just 5 days notice that the decision was to be accelerated, adding, "I am so sorry for my children. I just demand the truth."